Hey there, this is Ryan Adams, your Vice President of Government Affairs here at the Birmingham Association of Realtors. So why exactly are we doing this today? Well, one, some of you probably recently took the bar member survey. Thank you all so much for the feedback you were able to give us. It was invaluable. The purpose of this series of videos is to better explain what we're doing on advocacy because we saw a trend going that many of you were not really aware of what's going on. So let's look at some of this data really quickly that's out there. One, you can see right here on this chart, 7% of you said you were extremely familiar with what was going on here at Bar. That number is scary low. Would love to see that number up a little bit higher. But for me, the really more terrifying statistic here was that 55% of our membership indicated they were either slightly familiar or not very familiar at all with the work that we were doing in the advocacy department. And that's a bit concerning for us here at the association. So showing you how seriously we're going to take this will be the first in a series where we're going to start breaking things down, demystifying what's happening here at the association. Ultimately, this is your association. It's not my association. It's no member of staff's association. This is your association. So when we see numbers like 55% of you are not really familiar with what's going on with one of the important departments here at the association, we take that pretty seriously. Advocacy impacts literally every listing, license, and your very livelihood. Everything about advocacy impacts your business. The real estate industry is one of the most heavily regulated industries in existence. You would be hard pressed to find an industry that is more regulated at the federal, state, and local level than real estate. So whether you like it or not, whether politics is your bag or not, simply being a realtor is a political act. And so therefore, paying attention to advocacy, making sure you're covered in the advocacy front is paramount to the success of your business. Ultimately, also, over and over again, as we were reviewing the survey results, we were seeing that you were asking for more education. Time and time and time again, we saw comments that if we were better educated, we could be more involved. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. I think particularly where it comes to advocacy, it sounds kind of scary. It sounds kind of odd, kind of weird, kind of out there. And so it's very easy to be like, oh, I'm just going to ignore that. Hopefully through this series, you're going to see that there's really nothing scary about advocacy and that advocacy is super, super, super important to the livelihood that you're trying to make out there in the real estate industry. So looking at some of the feedback we received, we're going to break this down a little bit and talk about a couple of these points. I want to be more involved, but I don't know how. Well, look, I hope that you're watching, whoever left that comment. And we saw several variations of this same comment. I hope you're watching this video today because hopefully you're going to get to see some other ways that you can become involved here at the association. Through this series, you're going to see many ways that you can become involved here at the association. There it is right there. The more we educate, the stronger we will be. Wholeheartedly agree with that. If you take a sense of ownership, if you're educated on an issue, you take a sense of ownership, you're going to be much more likely to come in here, bring your ideas, bring your perspectives, bring your experience, and be able to build us into a better association all around. Local issues matter more than DC. That's where I need help. I'm going to stop and take a couple of minutes and really discuss this one. I'm a political nerd. I like politics. I pay attention to policy matters. I like to know what's happening in DC and Montgomery and here at City Hall. I'm also very hesitant to tell you that any one of those three levels matters more than another. There's a famous quote by Speaker of the House, former Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill. It's the most misquoted line in politics. The quote everyone knows is all politics is local. That statement is actually incorrect. That's not actually what he said. What he said was all politics is personal. What that means to me is that our local government sometimes feels like it's the one that we interface with the most. So it's the one that's most it's most real to us. It's the most it's the closest to us. It's the one we interact with the most. It's not that local issues are more important than what's happening in Washington, D.C. or what's happening in Montgomery. All of these issues come together. One bad ordinance at the local level, one bad piece of legislation in DC, one bad piece of legislation in Montgomery can cost you more than a lifetime of your dues at this association. So I'm very hesitant to say that one matters more than the other. But the great thing about that is you, as part of the realtor family, you're covered on the advocacy fronts on all three sides. You are covered by a team of professionals in Washington, D.C. You are covered by a team of professionals in Montgomery. And then we're here on the local level looking out for you at the local level. So it's really important that you engage and stay informed at some level on all three levels of government. So let's get into some representation and engagement concerns that some of y'all had out there. And here's the first one right here. Too many realtors don't even know what this is. Yeah, the polling data backs that up. 55% of you don't seem very familiar with what we're doing here at all. So that's part of this. We're trying to bring this to you to better explain this to you. Feels like membership doesn't reflect, feels like leadership, I'm sorry, feels like leadership doesn't reflect the membership. Here's my answer to that. People say that to me quite often, and here's what I say to everybody. If you're talking about committees, if you're talking about bar leadership, here's the trick to that. If it doesn't match what you think is there, if you see that you're not being represented, or you feel that you're not being represented, your perspective is not being represented, then you have to get involved around here. It's one thing to sit here and say, oh, they don't represent me, so I'm not going to be involved. No, this is your association. It has to represent you. It needs to reflect you. And sometimes if you're not here, you can't assume that your ideas and your experience and your thoughts are here. If you're not here, you can't guarantee that somebody else is going to be here for you, pushing those same ideals that are important to you. Stop talking in code and tell us what this means for our business. Look, I wholeheartedly agree with this statement, and we're going to try to do that. And we're out there constantly trying to communicate with y'all and get this information to you. Advocacy does affect your business, 100% does. And it's not so much code speak. Sometimes it's people just don't understand it, or it doesn't make sense. Pick up the phone and call. Pick up the phone and call, and we will be glad to break it down for you and explain it with more detail. Member concerns and misconceptions. Only insiders seem to get involved. Once again, it goes back to it. If you don't feel like you are part of that, you need to get here. You know, when I hear only insiders seem to get involved, my counter to that is, well, decisions are made by the people who show up. And if you're not here taking part, entering into the discourse, entering into the conversation, then it does seem like only insiders are involved. But I would argue they're just the people that showed up. It's not that they're insiders. They're just people that showed up that day. This is one of the ones that I found to be the most concerning. I've been in real estate for 20 years and I didn't know that BAR does this. I've only been with the association for going on 4 years now. So I can't speak for the previous 16 years of this particular realtor's career. But what I can tell you is in my 4 years, I have seen a concerted shift to better educate and inform our members of what's going on out there. I'll often hear that people don't, the emails are too long. You didn't read the email. You didn't see the email. My favorite are the people that will just be honest with you and say, I didn't read the email. That's where the information is. The information is housed within those emails. It's on our social media channels. We're not hiding anything. It's out there. But you have to meet us halfway. If you're going to get the information, you have to be willing to meet us halfway, whether that means checking the BAR social media accounts, checking your email, reading them, calling if you have questions. You have to meet us halfway. It's inconceivable. It's not possible. It would be impossible for us to send one dedicated BAR staffer to every single member's house every single morning and give you a complete rundown. The information is out there. You have to go look for it though. You've got to meet us halfway. We will put it out there. We're not doing anything in the dark around here on the advocacy front. It's out there. You've got to come with us and help us look for it. So the great thing about this is there's no experience that's required. People hear advocacy and they think that they're not qualified. You are 100% qualified. Some famous Greek guy said, I think, therefore I am. So if you are able to think and formulate an opinion, you are 100% able to come in here and take part in what we're doing right here. The first thing you should do, take your phone and text realtors, the word realtors, to 30644. That puts you into the Realtor Party mobile alert system. That is your first step in getting to become a more informed member of this association. Whenever there is an important advocacy update or a call for action that comes out at the national, state, or local level, that's the info. That's where that information will come from. So text Realtor to 30644. As we were going through some of those comments from the membership survey, we kept seeing some kind of over and over again, comments, questions. So I wanted to kind of address the top 3 that I kind of saw really quickly right here with fast facts. One, we are 100% membership led. There is this misconception that staff is in here making all the decisions and leading this direction in the way that they feel is necessary, they feel is the right way to do it. That is 100% ardently false. We are 100% membership led, whether it is a candidate we're going to endorse, whether it is a policy position we're going to take, it is 100% membership led. Typically starts somewhere like the Advocacy Advisory Group with the volunteers of the Advocacy Advisory Group, and ultimately it goes to the elected board of directors. So your elected bar leadership are who ultimately make all those decisions. This is 100% membership led. The advocacy department here is 100% legally compliant and 100% transparent. If you're talking about RPAC, you want to know where your RPAC dollars are going, you can get on fec.gov. You can see where NAR has spent the money. You can see where NAR has spent money from RPAC. If you're interested about the state and the local level, you can go to alabamavotes.gov, find the campaign finance tab, and you can see where Alabama Realtors has sent money to. You can see the amount, the dates, the times, who received the money, when, and how much. 100% transparent, 100% legally compliant. We're nonpartisan. One of my favorite things I saw repeatedly was I would be involved, but this seems too liberal. And then immediately underneath that, it would say, I would get involved, but this feels too conservative. You lean too much in the Democrats. You lean too much into the Republicans. Part of me had to giggle a little bit because it shows that we're kind of doing our job in that we're not being partisan. We are a nonpartisan organization. We do not play in party politics. We don't care about your partisan affiliation. What we care about is your stance on the issues that matter to us. We're policy driven. What is your position on private property rights? How are you on taxation? How are you on fair housing? How are you on any host of issues that directly impact the real estate industry? Those are the decisions we're making our calls on. We're not making the decisions based off whether you are a blue shirt or a red shirt. None of that matters for us. At the end of the day, we care about how are you on the issues that matter to us. So how can you get involved? Well, the first thing I would tell you is join a work group. Committee applications will open this fall. Once again, check those emails. Look for the social media posts. We put it literally everywhere. Sign up for a committee or a work group. We're going to go through the diversity and advocacy committees at some point. Sign up for one of those committees. Attend an event. We've got government affairs forums. There's the RPAC auction. There's Realtor Fest. There's Realtors Are Good Neighbors. There's the Habitat for Humanity bill. There are any number of events that you can come to. Even if you don't serve on that committee, you can come and see what they're up to, see what they're all about, and take part just as a member. And during election seasons, you should sign up to be a Screening Realtor Champion Task Force. Help us interview those candidates. It's the first step of our endorsement process. One first step in that 100% membership-led process where we determine who we're going to be endorsing as candidates. And those are just 3 quick, easy ways for you to become better involved in the advocacy work here at the Birmingham Association of Realtors.